America, 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 fuck yeah, coming again.
Hello everybody, Ambi Nicole here. My sisters from my group on Facebook, the Real Women of YouTube, have come up with a collaboration. It is called The Post-Election, A Woman's Perspective. And I happen to be a woman. I happen to have been having really strong feelings about the way America voted last week, and I feel like I really need to talk about it on YouTube, in a video, on a place where no one can really argue me. Feel free to leave your comments down below. If you do incite hate, I will delete those comments, I promise, but feel free to discuss all you guys want. I will leave the links down below, or the link to a playlist, I think it's going to be down below, with the videos that my Real Women of YouTube sisters have done also. The questions listed here down below. And I actually got these questions from my girl Shelly. How you doing, girl? She's an angel. I saw her video come up on my feed and I was very curious. I had somehow missed it on Facebook, but I'm so glad I found it. Thank you so much for providing the questions to me. I did wait a week before discussing this on YouTube, and I'm hoping to be able to film normal videos after this. Get everything off my chest, get back to filming reviews and unboxings and story times and all the fun stuff I actually enjoy doing. It's just I've been so bummed out and like stressed about my family. Certain sides of my family do not at all agree with me. They've banned people from their homes if they voted for Hillary. And I'll first off say that I did not vote for Hillary. I voted for Gary Johnson. He was our third party candidate. He was a pretty good candidate in my opinion. If you haven't looked into Gary Johnson, I highly recommend that you do so. He shares a lot of the same values and opinions as me, and if you were not happy with either candidate, he might be one worth looking into for the future. He was right there on the ballot underneath the two main candidates. You couldn't have missed him. I really would have liked to seen what happened with him, but yeah, we're going to get right into the questions now. What was your first reaction to learning that Donald Trump was elected president? I was watching all night long. I stayed up until 3-something in the morning to find out, what was going to happen. And my first reaction, I think I just cried. I don't know, that music that he had for his acceptance speech was just like really creepy to me. I don't know, this just seems like a big wrestling match. It seems like a big football game. Like this can't possibly be the presidential election in 2016. It really felt like just like a Super Bowl or something. It was unreal. And my first reaction was just disappointment, and I was hurt that so many Americans could clearly feel so drastically different about the issues than I do. It bothers me that things like global warming are being considered fake. Like, how can you agree with a man who talks so poorly about everyone, who uses his business manipulation skills to get what he wants, to get... okay, these are just opinions, so that's really not helpful of me. I'm scared for a lot of different groups of people. There were so many things that we did in the last 8 years. Gay rights, just getting everyone... I felt like we were starting to get everyone to a place of equality, and now I feel that everything that has been done is going to be undone. I think Obamacare would have been a great thing. People like me, I don't have children, so I don't qualify for a lot of medical care. Worried about what's going to happen for all of us financially, as far as equality goes, all of that. I just... How did you feel about Trump's slogan, "Make America Great Again"? This is where things get really complicated for me. In my opinion, there has not been like an outstanding era of American greatness. From the way we got this country in our hands to the way we've dealt with people who have come in since. Just the different types of wars we've had, the different types of individuals we've had in office, from the banks basically owning everything. I'm not a huge fan of capitalism, and I honestly feel like we just reelected Ronald Reagan. And the disturbing thing is, a lot of people in my family, the Republican side, seem to think that he was this great president. But if you look into his history, he is the reason why we are at war over oil. He stole oil to make America great. So if you want Trump to go and steal oil to make America great again, that's your prerogative. I disagree. I think we need to get away from oil. I think that oil is a huge part of this fake global warming thing. Please do your own research. Don't take my opinion as fact, because Lord knows I'm not always right. That Trump is referring to capitalism and oil production and all of that jazz when he's referring to making America great again. And I don't honestly feel like that was sustainable. I think if you look at the timeline, capitalism has proven to be unsustainable. We are making money that we're just kind of printing out of nowhere at this point. We're so far in debt. If you really look into it, you can draw your own conclusions. That I really don't feel like America was ever at this point of true independent financial stability, or whatever it is he's referring to when he says make America great again. I think that it's great the way it is. It was starting to get to a great place, and I feel like that's being threatened now. 3. What was it that made you decide to support or not support our elected candidate? I was born in 1988, so I lived through the 90s entirely. And during the 90s, Donald Trump was in movies like The Little Rascals, Home Alone 2. He had a board game. That's what my generation saw of Donald Trump. Then he proceeded to do things like his reality shows, owning all of these hotels. If you don't see what this guy's all about, I don't know what you do see. What has he been doing for the last 20 years? I don't want to be a joke if I decide to go overseas. I don't want to be seen as a Donald Trump-like personality, because I don't believe in any of his views that I've heard thus far. I just really don't. Or how do you feel about the people who voted Green Party or opted not to vote at all? I think that those who voted Green Party, good for you. You voted. You voted for a real change. We have never had a third party candidate take over, and I think it's about time. You guys want to get out of the establishment? Let me tell you, Donald Trump bought his way into the establishment a long time ago. He is a part of that establishment you're so against. So if you really want to change, vote for someone like Gary Johnson or for Jill Stein, people who have been breaking their backs for decades to get the kind of rights and the kind of laws in place that we have been screaming for. Equality, equal pay, equal rights. Do you think that Trump will bring the minorities together? No. I haven't seen anything at all that would indicate that he will bring the minorities together. I think that... No. No! The question was, do you think Donald Trump being president will bring minorities together? How has the election affected things with your friends and family? Let's just say I know who really liked me for me in the first place based on the way they've acted. Oh my gosh! Thank you, Lance. This is my favorite water in the whole world. It's got like a super high pH balance and it doesn't dry my mouth out. That's something we need to address in politics. Why does water dry my mouth out? Why are there taste-enhancing minerals that make me thirstier than when I started drinking the water before? I don't drink soda, so I need something that really quenches my thirst. And y'all need to stop messing with my water. It is basically like, okay, one member of my family... one I respected so highly. I thought she was the most gracious of hosts, the just most caring person in the whole world, actually posted on Facebook that anyone who voted for Hillary Trump is not welcome in her home anymore. And that goes for Christmas, Thanksgiving, all that good stuff. So I was just like, wow. Good thing I didn't vote for her, but honestly, I don't want to go somewhere like that. I don't want to go spend my precious family time, holiday time, with people who have those kind of views. Like, really? I'm not even going to get that far into it. I'm really blown away by how people really are. And I think that's one of the first things I actually said to my boyfriend here when we were watching what was going on with the election. And when he won, I was just like, I started sobbing and saying that, I was overwhelmed because more people than not feel the exact opposite about almost every important issue than I do. People aren't as unified and together as I really thought they were, and it was pretty devastating. I'm still shocked. I work in customer service, and people have been so rude for like the last 6 months. I can't even explain to you. Last weekend alone, before the election happened, there were 3 instances at my job where a customer had to have been told to not come back to the establishment because of the way some of my employees were treated. It was unbelievable. Do the results change your plans for the next few years? / do you see yourself in the same place you plan to be? Of course I do. I mean, I'm not one to sit here and plan my future, unfortunately. I've not been that great at that. It's definitely gone a different direction than I ever saw it going. But Donald Trump isn't going to change that, I don't think. I think that some people can be greatly affected by what's going to happen. Their futures could literally be moved to a different place against their will. And, the one thing I am going to say is that will happen over my dead body, and I'm sure that there are at least 1 million other people who feel the same way I do in this country, not including the way people feel overseas. I haven't gotten that far into it, but yeah, over my dead body. 8, what do you think about the fact that a majority of white women voted for Trump? Is that a fact, really? I mean, that's horrifying. If half the women in the country are okay being bullied by men, the kind of guys who are in the locker room talking about grabbing women by the pussy, you know what? I don't date those kind of guys. I went through a lot of douchebags to find the guy I'm with now, and he would never say something like that. If he did, it would be a lot goofier, a lot more innocent, and he wouldn't use the word pussy like that. I hate that word. Don't you? It just, unless you're talking about a kitty cat or a scared little fella or something, I don't like it. You know what? This is another just an opinion thing, and this might be crazy, or this might be the smartest thing I've ever... No, we're not going to say it's the smartest thing I've ever thought of, because that's so not true. But I put something together, and this is just from the people I know, the majority of things I saw on Facebook. So, of course, this is not a fact at all, but it seemed like most of the women who voted for Trump were in, like a situation where they have a husband. Not only do they have a husband, but this husband has some sort of factory job. I'm not trying to lump anyone together. I'm just saying that I feel like the type of people who are voting for, the type of women who voted for Trump are the type of people who who don't have to depend on themselves. The type of women who don't have to live in a house with a 2-person income. These are the 1-person income homes, it seems like, from what I've seen. And that's just my opinion, just what I've gathered from what I've seen on my Facebook feed. How does this election show the problem with white feminism and the need for intersectionality? I try to ignore the overbearing parties of any group of people. I think that feminism is a great thing. We should all have a little bit of it in us if we're women, but being overbearing or close-minded to the point where that's all you see, it's not good for anyone. It's not good for women. It doesn't bring us together because they're being so radical about things that they're basically saying that we hate men. And I'm sorry, I love my man. I'm really glad he's him and he's a man. So I know there's a lot of shitbags out there. Trust me, I know. But there are good ones too. There really are. How does having a president-elect accused of sexual assault affect you and your approach to safety? To be honest, I've never really felt safe in this world. There is always some crazy person capable of doing something to you. You just have to be smart enough to see that, like, pay attention to your surroundings, be prepared, notice red flags of danger, things like that. You just have to use your common sense. Once again, being prepared. Now, probably more than ever, because there is someone who I feel is definitely a lot more empowering to men in charge in the near future. I think that we just need to be stronger than ever. Definitely push for job equality for women. Definitely push for just sign petitions, get involved, speak out without violence, because if we use violence to be heard, we're definitely not going to be taken as seriously. And I think that that's something we, including feminists, really need to remember. Us women can be very passionate, and that is a great thing. We balance the world in that way. But in the same way, we have to remember, I'm guilty of this myself, just going totally overboard when I'm emotional. And that's a reason I waited a week to make this video. I couldn't do it the day of or the day after. I was feeling too crazy. I was feeling too crazy to even film my regular videos. So there was no way I needed to be on YouTube that angry, saying the way I felt at the time. Because when it happened, I was very much more furious than I am right now. Right now I'm kind of seeing that there are things we can do productively. At the time, I was just ready to go out on the street, burn Trump's head, but I've had a minute and I think there are more productive things we can do. Will you be pursuing long-term birth control options just in case Trump follows through on allowing insurance companies to deny coverage? Well, number one, I don't qualify for health insurance. I tried to get Obamacare, and because Florida, the state I live in, does not support Obamacare, I had to get a tax exemption, so I didn't get penalized for not having the coverage. But because I don't have children, I don't qualify for Medicaid. Therefore, I was not eligible to get Obamacare here in Florida, so I'm not on birth control as it is. Whatever is going to happen at this point, and I don't think that that will affect me, but I do feel bad if it does affect others. I would encourage you to think of the possibilities, like I've been saying this whole time. Be prepared for whatever could happen. Do what you got to do. Does this result affect your motivation to vote in the next election? Heck yes, it does. I did make one mistake during this election. When I first registered to vote, I really didn't know enough about any of the candidates to really say that I stood by any of them. I knew I disagreed with Hillary. I disagreed with Donald. I didn't really know much about Gary Johnson or Jill Stein, so I was just like, I don't know. And, of course, I was asked if I wanted to register Democrat or Republican, and I was like, I can't do that right now, so I'm going to have to register non-party. And I kind of didn't think about the fact that I wouldn't have a say in the primary elections. And if I would have, maybe Mr. Bernie Sanders, the person I really wish I would have pushed for this whole time, I think if I would have known, I can't even say that. I just wish I would have been more informed. I wish I would have done more research before it was too late. I wish I would have registered Democrat or something, bit the bullet, and I think I was just being stubborn. I thought maybe, if enough people registered third party, they'd be like, oh, hey, there's something wrong here. No, it didn't work that way, clearly, and next time I will be registering with a certain party. I will be party affiliated just so I can vote in the primaries and maybe get Bernie Sanders or Gary Johnson into a bigger seat, more exposure, just people to actually hear what they have to say. That would be great. And like I said, that was my mistake, and I definitely learned a lot from this election. I learned a lot about people. I learned a lot about our judicial system. I learned a lot about my brains on overload. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for listening to what I have to say. If you agree or disagree, leave it down below. Like I said, no inciting hate or violence. Let's not do that. I will see you all in my next video. I hope that it is a little more positive than this. I've got a lot of reviews to do. I've got a giveaway to announce, the hair straightener giveaway. That'll be my next video. So stay tuned for that. We've got the winner announced on other social media, but I will go ahead and announce the winner here as well. And maybe we'll do some mid-month favorites, switch it up a little bit, just kind of talk about nothing for a while, and then we'll get back to our regularly scheduled programming. Alrighty, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!